Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, Perek Hey, Halacha Zayin. The Rambam says, how do I know that even when one is in danger of his life, one may not transgress one of these three terrible sins? After we learned from the Pasuk, which tells us that the mitzvahs are only required when it will not cause a person to die, he should not die. Why are these three sins different? The sin of murder, of illicit relationships, and of idol worship. Now, the Rambam will tell us each one of these sins, why we are required to give our life for it. Shenema, it says, we say in Shema, you should love Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your money. Chazal explain this in the Gemara in even if Hashem takes your soul. From this we learn that you have to give your soul not to serve idols. And killing a person of another Jew to heal someone else, or to save someone from being murdered. This is something that has to do with logic. You do not cause one soul to be lost because of the other. It means what the Gemara says in the states. How do you know that you are more worthy than the other one? However, maybe your friend's soul is worth more than yours. Blood is worth more than yours. Rashi there explains that the permission to transgress on a mitzvah is because of saving a life. It's to save that person because that person is beloved before Hashem more than the mitzvah. However, when it comes to killing somebody else, how do you know that your soul is worth more before Hashem than your friend's soul? We heard from the Rebbe Mislonim, the Baal Birkas Avram, who heard from Chaim Alevi Soloveitchik, of Brisk. Slonim was near Brisk, on the Loshen, the Gemara, Svohu, that's a logic, that is something that a person should understand by himself, that his friend is his beloved before Hashem, no less than he. The Grach said about himself, if they'll say to Chaim Soloveitchik of Brisk, to kill the one who brings the water for the city, who was a simple person, otherwise they'll kill him, certainly he has to permit himself to be killed. How do you see yourself better? What do you think? Not only Allah has to let himself be killed, the Torah tells us he has to understand this himself. Why should he think that he is more worthier than somebody else? This forbiddenness to save yourself by killing someone else is only when he's asked to do so with an action. But if they tell him, permit me and we will throw you on an infant, then the answer is, how do I know that the tinnik's blood is worth more than mine? He doesn't have to kill himself. And we find in the Pasuk, in the passage, that the Torah Shenema, it says by a betrothed woman, the Torah equates death, murder, and forbidden relationships. She is not punished because just as a person gets up on his friend or and he kills him, so is this too. That applies to, so we have all three teachings to tell us why one cannot transgress the three major sins, which are idol worship, incestuous relationships, and murder. We're learning Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah Perek Hey Halacha Ches. When is this referred to? That one may not heal himself with other forbiddennesses, only when one's life is in danger. When you're doing it in a way that you feel benefit from it. Such as when you give someone to eat forbidden rodents and things that crawl. Like chometz of Pesach or chometz on Pesach. We go to the Peirush HaMeir, they're given to eat on Yom Kippur. The Pri Chodesh explains the Torah forbade them, even though they are disgusting to eat. So it seems that even when it's not something you benefit, there's still a forbiddenness from the Torah. But if you do it in a way that's not normal, they're making for him a bandage or a type of dressing, and malugma means something that comes from your cheeks. They would chew wheat or figs in the mouth, and they would put it on a wound to heal it. Mechametz me'ola, that chometz on Pesach or ola, which is forbidden to be eaten and benefit from. Or they give him something to eat which has a very bitter taste that's mixed together with food that is forbidden to be eaten, so you don't benefit. There is no benefit in the mouth. It is permitted, even when it's not a mokim sakona. Here, the Rambam puts together the general rule we find in the Gemara: when you don't get malchus, only when you benefit. They said all the forbiddennesses in the Torah, you don't get punished, only the way you would eat them. The Maggid Mishnah says that the derech hano is something that you want to eat is only with the eating alone, and that's the only way of benefiting. Even though the forbiddenness is only the eating, is not only the eating, but even benefiting from it. The source that you can heal yourself with something that's forbidden to benefit from, if you don't use it in the way that it's normally benefited from, is found in Psochem 25b. There it says, Ravino soch es bitoy. Ravino smeared his daughter with the olives of the unripened olives of Orla. You can have benefit from it. Ravashi asked him, she's not in danger of her life, and he answered her that she is in danger of her life. The others who answered that, he answered him that he's doing it in a way that's not normal. You don't take the olives and smear them on. The Rambam Paskin says that brings both ideas, and therefore somebody who's in danger of his life, you can do even the normal fashion. But somebody who's not in danger of his life, you can do it not in the normal fashion. Therefore, the Rambam concludes that one can place a bandage or a type of dressing from chometz or ola to a sick person who has no sakona, even though you can't eat it or have a benefit, since the bandage is not considered a way of benefit. The Rambam continues, chutz, this excludes mikloya krayam and bostoner rebbe. These two items are forbidden. Shein asurim afilu shaloi derech hanosan. They are forbidden even not in the normal fashion. Therefore, one may not heal themselves even when it's not the natural way of doing so, the normal way of doing so, only when one is in danger of their life. In different places, Rambam writes that you get malchus, lashes for kloya akerim and bosa b'cholov, only by eating and not by benefiting. And Mishnah Melech says that the Rambam's opinion is that you get malchus, lashes for kloya akerim and bosa b'cholov, even when it's not the normal fashion, only when it comes to eating, but not when it comes to benefiting, even though the Torah forbade both, even when you don't benefit. The Rambam writes here, except for klei akerim and bosa b'cholov. Klei akerim is things that grew in a vineyard. You're not allowed to grow wheat, etc. in a vineyard. It means that it's forbidden to make from them a dressing or a bandage for a sick person who is not in danger of his life, because there's a forbiddenness even when it's not the normal fashion. Why are they different, these two? The mixture of the vineyard and milk and meat. because all the asurim, it says achilo, and therefore you're only forbidden with benefit. But klai hakerem v'osav b'chol, it doesn't say achilo. It says lest pentigdash hamleya by klai hakerem. It says lest to become holy or forbid. Holy means forbidden, that which grows, and the wheat in the vineyard. The chain also it says you should not cook a goat in its mother's milk, and therefore it's forbidden even when there's no danger, even when it is not in the normal fashion. Because of this, the Shagas Arya gives us a new idea that even on eating on Yom Kippur, it's forbidden in Torah, not in the normal fashion. Since the forbiddenness on eating Yom Kippur doesn't say you shouldn't eat, it just says you shall torment yourself, and any person who doesn't torment himself. And the proof is that the Gemara says you're only not liable if you eat in a way which is more, in other words, if you eat Erev Yom Kippur till you're bursting, and then you eat on Yom Kippur, Achila Gasam, then you are potter, because it's damaging to the body. But the Imre Bina Pesach learned the Rambam that even on Yom Kippur it doesn't say Achila, it's therefore not in the normal fashion. For somebody who's a sick person who is not in danger of his life, you can give it to him to heal. I guess the Mishnah brings the machlokes, whether it's permitted to eat Isur D'Rabbanan to a sick person that has no sakona. There are those who say it's permitted, because just they permitted the Isur Torah, not a way of the Hanor, because it's Isur D'Rabbanan. So too, we should forbid other forbidden D'Rabbanans. There are those who forbade it, because the forbidden of Torah is not in the normal fashion, is easier from a regular Isur D'Rabbanan. The Ran himself says that there's a forbiddenness in the item. The Ran, however, thinks that something that's forbidden D'Rabbanan, cannot be eaten, even though it's a higher category than not in the normal fashion. And he writes, according to those who say it's permitted Isur Hanor D'Rabbanan, they only permitted it by a sick person that doesn't have a sakono. It was not permitted. And so the Groy writes, the Ramah Paskins says the halacha is that you can heal someone with that which is D'Rabbanan, even to a choilo that has no sakona. The Kesef Mishnah cites the Hilchos Chaim, who writes that the Rambam did not permit chometz, not in its normal fashion, only by chometz of a goy. But the chometz was of a Yisrael. He addresses on the Isur D'Oraisa. The goy's chometz, chometz shel Yisrael, the chometz is of a Yisrael. Harei al Isur D'Oraisa shel bal Yeroy bal Yemotzi. You do transgress, and he has to get rid of it from the world. In this way, he explains, the Magen Avraham explains that the Rambam forbade to chew wheat on Pesach and to put it on a wound, because through the spit it becomes chometz, and here he permits it. It must be that he was talking about a chometz of a goy. They gave it to Yisrael, or therefore it's around, or the goy put it on his wound, and there's no responsibility with the Yisrael in this regard. Now, if the goy doesn't have this mixture of chometz, which is with spit, the Yisrael can give him flour, and the goy can make this concoction. You place it on the wound to heal him, even though it's a sickness which does not have a sakona. And with this, the Magen Avraham explains the intent of the Gemara. Loshen Chacham Marpeh, language of the Chacham heals, meaning that from the words of the Chachamim in the Mishnah, we can learn how to heal people. Since it's forbidden to chew wheat and place it on the wound on Pesach, we learn that there is such a healing process, and if you chew it, it does heal the wound. The Mishnah Lamelech questions, this is a contradiction in the Rambam. Perik Ches in Hilchos Yesodei the Rambam writes that he benefits from food that's forbidden by Noah, he didn't eat it, like the guy he sold to Goyim or gave to dogs, he does not get Malchus, and you give him Malchus Mosdos. It would seem that if he didn't eat it, it's considered not the normal fashion, even though he benefits, and he doesn't get Malchus, he doesn't get lashes. By forbidden items, it comes in Perek Yudal Machon Nesher, he writes that all of the foods that are forbidden you're not liable on them until you eat them the way they are, you benefit from them. What does that mean? Somebody who made liquefied fats and he swallowed it, and when it's hot till his throat was burned from it, or he ate fat which is raw, or he mixed things, bitter things into wine which is forbidden to drink, or into a dish which is made of treifa meat, and he ate them when they are bitter, or he ate that which is forbidden after it became putrid, and it's no longer edible by man, there's no liability. Mishnah Lamelech explains that Rambam has three differentiations. That which you eat, which is forbidden, then you get Malchus or Ikoris. And if he benefits the way you benefit from it, such as oiling hides, or using it as fuel under your dish, it's forbidden min HaTorah, but you don't get Malchus. And if it's not the way a person would usually benefit, such as he placed it on his wound, it's midrabanan forbidden. But they permitted it for someone who's sick, who does not have even though he's not in danger of his life. Just that Mishnah Lamelech himself questions on this many questions. First of all, if the Rambam admits to the other Rishonim, the other early commentaries, they didn't permit a Issa Torah for a person who's sick and is not in danger of his life, even not in the natural, normal fashion, why didn't the Rambam forbade to smear forbidden things that are forbidden to benefit from for somebody who's sick who does not have a danger? And furthermore, in Psochim 24b, it says that anything that's forbidden from the Torah, you don't get Malchus, only if it's normal fashion, except for if you put the fats of a shiur anisko, which is a shiur anisko is a shiur that has to be stoned because it killed somebody, and they took the fats and you placed it on his wound, he's not liable. Why is the Gemara saying only the Rabbanon and not an Issa Torah, like the oil of Orlo, that even that if you smear it, you don't get Malchus because you didn't eat it? Therefore, because of the many questions such as these and others, the Mishnah Melech wants to explain, according to the first interpretation, that according to Rambam, there's only two differentiations. Eating is one, and hanoah, benefiting not through eating. And every benefiting that's not through eating, like to smear your body with oil, you can do by someone who's sick, who does not have a zakona, because according to Rambam, you don't get malchus for any hanoah that's not eating. But because the fact that you don't get lashes does not mean that you're permitted to use it to begin with, even for someone who's sick that doesn't have a sakona, as is mentioned in the case of Mishnah, but rather you have to do it not in a normal fashion.